Opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not WSTU. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
The Treasure Coast longest running local talk radio show is on the air. The Treasure Coast Forum. Get interested, get educated, get involved, and give us a call with your opinions at 220-9788. And here's your host of the Treasure Coast Forum.
Hello, Stuart, Martin County. We are back. Just when you thought it was safe, they're back.
The three amigos.
Yes. So I'm Frank. I'm joined by Palm City Charlie and Mike Niebuhr. And we're eagerly waiting for Amir Meehan to make it back here in studio. She is, my guess is, in transit. I messaged her the other day and didn't hear back. So my guess is she was probably somewhere where she wasn't getting telephone reception. So I'm guessing.
Is that what you really think?
Yeah, I'm going with that.
That happens if you're in a plane.
Yeah, that's where my head's at.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly right. But whoa, hello. Yep. So
Is that the Pope calling?
yeah,
Looking for her?
no, but we're on the air right now. I'm Todd.
Oh, gosh, I know me. I'll call you later. I'm sorry.
Okay, Todd. Thanks. Bye.
Should have asked him about my car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Call him back.
We'll call him back. That was Charlie's car. Yeah, actually, I had my phone in my hand because I was looking up Amira's message. So she sent me some interesting text messages explaining where she's at in India. She says India has airport-like security for hotels, which is interesting. So we got a caller already. You are on the air. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, I'd like to call up and talk about how great the radio station is. I've listened for years and I've been informed, I've learned, I've expressed my opinions, and WSTU has always been there. And I just wanted to say how great of a radio station it is.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, we all thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
And by the way, we also love Crown Car Care.
we do.
We just think that's the best place going.
It is. It is.
And
Well,
it has
yeah.
two
Well,
locations.
well.
Two locations.
Palm City and Stewart. That's right.
Well, I was just thinking about WSTU and how great of a radio station it is and how great the people are that are on the air. And I wanted to just call and say hi.
Well, thanks so much. And thanks for listening.
How was the test
got it.
drive?
Good.
All
Yeah.
you people, everyone have a great day
How
and
was
keep
the
up the
test
good work.
drive? Todd?
Okay, we will. Well, we're going to give you a full report next week.
Next
Yeah,
week.
we're
Full
teasing
report.
for next week.
Oh, okay.
All right. So,
Okay.
righto. Thanks, buddy.
You got it. Talk to you later.
All right,
Bye-bye. Bye.
I don't want to burst your bubble.
No,
I'm
no.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all
'Cause
right.
That's an exciting story.
Yeah.
How come we can't have it on our show? No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Tricycles. Test drive.
All right.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So anyways, so she was going on to say that India has airport-like security for hotels because there was a terrorist attack in the Taj Hotel in Mumbai,
Yes.
which is basically India's version of 9/11.
Mm.
So it was a pretty,
I remember that one.
I was going to say that was a while ago, wasn't it?
It was a while
4,
ago.
5, 6, 7 years ago.
well, yeah.
You know what? The reason why we take our shoes off is that idiot shoe bomber.
Right.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ever since then,
Right.
we're taking our shoes off.
We took my mother and my aunt down to, I forget, it was some vacation. It required some air travel to one of the islands somewhere. It was a few years ago. And, my mom was like 80 something at the time, right?
Take your shoes off, lady.
And I
Yeah.
said, really?
Really?
80-year-old lady's got to take, oh yeah, that's the
Well,
federal rules.
I'll tell you another
It's like,
story. So we
geez.
were coming into the country, and they checked my wife's hands for
Right.
explosives.
Right.
Here comes this couple.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Muslim faith. Everything
Okay.
covered up and the
Right.
whole bit.
Sure.
Right on through.
Of course.
I go, Why don't you check those people?
When you left home, you should have just taken your bed sheet, wrapped it around you, and you would have gotten
I
a
could
free.
have been a mummy. I could have been a mummy.
Poor Mike's
But
just
I'm a
shaking,
daddy. How
he's
could,
just
how could I
shaking
be a
his
mummy?
head. He goes, "Oh my God, can you say that
Yeah,
on the radio?"
I was going to say
But
the
it should be.
opinions are not of the network or
It
the
stays-
radio
Are
station.
the owners or management? Yes.
But it's
Um,
amazing.
That's just my poor attempt at humor.
Oh.
Okay, it was just a joke.
Your poor mom.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my poor mom and my aunt, who was 3 years older than my mom.
Oh,
It's
my
like,
Lord.
Really, we got to do this.
And they let you keep your shoes on.
We had no problem taking our shoes
Oh,
off, but
whatever.
when you're 80 years old, you know.
Hey, when you're our age, right, Mike?
You better believe it. It was tough getting them back on.
Yeah.
Anybody out there taking, or did they buy TSA pre-check?
Oh.
You can get that for like $85 for 5 years, I think.
But what
And-
global entry
And the
is
global entry also, which
Now-
is beyond that.
Yeah, but now they don't even do the I heard TSA pre-check. It's global entry.
Oh.
So, and my wife is saying now we also
One size
need a
fits all.
visa. We're going to be going. I don't know. When you
Oh.
go to Europe, now you need a visa.
Entry
Really?
visa.
We have a passport.
Yes.
Now we need a visa.
For
S-
certain countries.
Certain countries demand visas.
Like if I'm going to go to China, I'm going to need a visa to get into.
I
China.
am not going to China. I've
No.
been to China, but I'm not going back.
Yeah. Fair
No,
enough.
I got out
Right.
once.
Right.
Don't press your luck.
No.
And I went to Hong Kong. Hong Kong was fun
Yeah.
back then,
Back then.
68.
Yeah. So she goes on to say that Prime Minister Modi spends more time in other countries than in India and likely uses government funding for selfish functions. Now, this, again, these are comments made by Mira Meehan. This is probably her family there. She's just parroting what their impressions are.
Right.
That's my guess.
Sounds like politics.
That's right. The elections are fair, but I like this. But the opposing candidates are rigged. It's perfectly
They
fair.
always lose.
It's yeah. But it'll be fair.
Does it say how many people run? Meaning, do they have? They
Ah,
don't have a
really?
two-party system.
No, I think they do have more than a two-party system.
Right. I mean, I don't know.
But I suspect they do have more than a two-party
Right.
system. But yeah.
So, in any event, that's everybody's speculating on RFK Jr. running. Cornell West is running.
Mhm.
Manchin may think of running with Lieberman.
Lieberman.
Really?
I'm not. Well, Lieberman seems to be in the background. Manchin and maybe one other senator, I think, was contemplating running as a what the
Independent?
not independent, but well, it was independent, but I forget what they were trying to call themselves.
Hmm.
Nonpartisan or
Well, if they go
Whatever.
third party, it's
Non-affiliated.
going to throw it to somebody.
yeah, well, that's just it. They're going to
Yeah.
affect somebody's race, and
I wonder how the electors and these special electors and how they go into, of course, it's the electors that select the president, right?
Mhm.
So how does that work when you're,
Well, you're
an
supposed-
outside party? Yeah.
I don't know. And you remember
Some,
when?
some states have a winner take all. Some states have proportionate.
Right.
Proportionately.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then Alaska is really weird, right?
Is it? Yeah.
Isn't there like they have like a 5 people?
Slate.
Yeah, it's all screwed up. I
Mhm.
forget how it is, but it's very
A lot of moving
strange.
parts, huh?
Yeah, it's not like 2 people running. It's like
Hmm.
5 people running.
All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So moving on to other things, she says Delhi's air quality has improved massively.
Wow.
She can actually breathe without coughing, and the sky, she can actually see blue sky when she looks upwards, which
Hmm.
is, I guess, a change of pace.
How John Kerry.
That is because a separate party So, it's called the AAP party, something she thinks is the party that governs that specific area of the country of India. They are, I guess, the ruling governing body in that region,
Mhm.
and that's the reason why that the air quality is different than the rest of the country. Now, there's a place called Rhodes, RHODES.
Yes.
Okay. They had a massive fire which caused 60,000 tourists to evacuate,
Whew.
the biggest evacuation ever in Greece.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know there was a Rhodes, Greece, but apparently there is.
Well, I remember the Rhodes Scholar.
Well, they probably all the scholarly people
Yeah, I guess. I
live
don't
in
know.
Rhodes. Yes.
I have no idea.
We're going with that. Elon Musk wants to change the Twitter logo to X, and she thinks that's pretty strange. My wife tells me that in Chinese, X means explore. So,
Well, SpaceX.
yes,
and all of that.
explore,
Yeah.
which is kind of an interesting concept. So, okay, so he wants to change Twitter to X.
He wants to get rid of the blue bird.
Apparently so. No
Fly
more.
away.
No more tweeting with a bird.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, it's like any company rebrands after some catastrophe
Right.
or something happens that
Right.
they say, why have the bird?
Yeah.
Have an X, and then there's cross branding between the SpaceX and all of his other businesses that he's developing now.
He's giving the bird the bird.
he's giving the bird a pass.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
The flying fickle of fate.
Fickle Finger of
Ooh,
Fate Award.
yes.
Remember that?
I love that one.
Yeah,
That was
flying
from
fickle of fate.
Finger of Fate. That
Yeah.
was from Laugh-In,
Laughing.
right?
Yeah.
I was going to say, we are old.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was going to say they go on the beach. Jesse Waters sends some producer out on the beach and says,
Right.
"Do you remember X?" Or that was a bad phrase. That
Yeah.
was a bad term. Do you remember this? Do you remember the Watergate? And they all look at him with a blank stare and
The
says, "What
hotel?
the Harry's was
Yeah,
Watergate?"
right.
And they don't have a clue.
No.
But that's that's the generational thing. But
Or
that's
white
what
water.
or white water. But those are the things that campaigns must now contend with,
Mm.
that they don't remember those things, and they have to campaign accordingly to the age group that they want, need, target, or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So they kind of narrowing. And the thing is, it seems to me that if I was running for public office, I would want to cast a broad net
Absolutely.
and want to be as inclusive as possible. And the problem is, if you are very narrowly focused to try to get this group and that group, and it seems like a very difficult coalition to hold together.
Well, I was going to say, I remember Dick Morris
Yeah.
said that because the Democrats were all of these varied groups and they were all looking for something, but they came to the conclusion that it was better for them to be together than apart.
Right.
So they pretty much stuck together as a Democrat, and because they thought they may get their Christmas tree lit up with all the perks,
All the goodies.
all the goodies from a Democratic regime, I guess.
Mhm.
But so that was sort of interesting. But you're right. The Republicans seem to be. I mean, they were doing with under Trump. The
A pretty
African
broad tent.
he had a pretty broad tent, is right.
Mhm.
African American, Hispanic, and probably whatever else is out there.
Right.
I mean, he was doing a pretty good job of getting them all under that tent.
And supposedly he had lost some of the
Independence.
the moms, the soccer moms in the cities, the suburban neighborhood
Suburban, yeah.
soccer moms.
Because-
People don't like the straight talk. I grew up in New York.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like
Don't beat around. Cut to the chase.
give it to me straight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
that's what they didn't like. Were
Right.
the
For some reason.
rash
Or
texts or whatever.
I don't like the name calling. I really
Right.
don't. I
Right.
think
Nobody
it is
does.
childish.
Right,
I wish he would rise above
right.
put the suit on, wear the suit, and I think that would piss them off just as bad because they want to needle him. They needle him.
Right.
You
Their
know?
heads would explode if he did that, though.
Yeah, I would love it, and I think that would help win over those independent soccer moms.
And the strange thing is, what percentage of those soccer moms do you need? It's not like they're going for 100%. Just give me 5% of you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the African American is increasing. If they lose, I heard these numbers. If they lose, or if the Republicans gain 30% of the African American vote, where they were losing all of it, they would do resoundingly well in any election.
They picked up a bunch the last time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what put them over
And
the
it was
edge.
the men. It was the African American quote men.
Hmm.
You know.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I think Hispanics, I'm half Puerto Rican. I've always been a conservative. My father was half. He's always was conservative.
Sure.
My mother was English. She was conservative.
Okay.
I'm a mess. A mongrel.
So, according to Newsmax, Representative Jim Jordan says that Facebook documents clearly tied the White House to censorship efforts. So they always suspected that the White House was leaning on Facebook and Twitter and other news organizations to censor certain reports and documents and things of that sort. But now I guess they got the smoking gun. They actually have White House documents that.
Something I thought that was already revealed.
Well,
and maybe I'm follow the news too closely, but
so a lot of that stuff has been widely, openly discussed, but it isn't a fact until you got hard documents to prove it.
But
So
but didn't they have the documents? I guess it was all individual conjecture.
Hearsay.
Right.
Hearsay just you can't get there from here.
Yeah.
And if you don't hear it on The View, it's not true.
Is that how it works? So that's a headline according to Newsmax.
That was being sarcastic.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure because Mike made a face.
Oh, did he? Okay. Trump says his attorneys had a very productive meeting with the Justice Department. Now, this has to do. So this is interesting to me. So this is according to CNN. And CNN
It's got to be true.
Well, he did have a productive meeting but this has to do with the delay in the possible indictment by meetings with the special counsel to try to buy some time for the run up to the election, the primaries. And this whole indictment thing is going to run into the primary season, and it's really not fair to a presidential candidate.
That's why they are doing it. That's why they want
of course
to
it
do
is.
it. Yeah.
Well, but anyways, he did
Keep him in court.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I find it interesting that CNN's talking about Trump, whereas Fox News and Newsmax
Maybe the
is
aliens.
they're talking about Biden.
Oh.
This is according to
Which Biden?
Fox News. Biden's allegedly, this is Biden's. So this would be Jim
Oh, okay.
Joe
the Bidens.
and Hunter allegedly coerced Burisma. So I would say that would be Joe and Hunter. Coerced Burisma CEO to pay them millions to help get Ukraine prosecutor fired.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
they actually have a audio tape and I think the audio video.
It's a videotape.
Yeah.
I was going to say, unfortunately, that's old news, and that's how they exploit. Oh, that's old news. But basically, Joe Biden
but they
did
didn't-
exactly what they accused Trump of doing.
He bragged about it. Yeah.
Joe Biden
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah. He said, I got him fired because
Yeah.
I promised him $1 billion and I won't give it to him unless they
Yeah.
fire this person. No, it was a prosecutor. I'm sorry.
Right.
It was a prosecutor to get the Burisma, listen to me, the Burisma executor fired.
Right.
But anyway,
Right. So what it was the prosecutor
okay,
that was prosecuting against Burisma.
right. I'm sorry. That's correct. Yes.
So they actually now they had conjecture. Before it was just they're able to kind of connect the dots, but it's all conjecture.
Mhm.
Now they've got paperwork that shows, or either paperwork and or audio tapes or some sort of hard document provable things that shows the link that because Biden, Hunter Biden, was sat on the board, it gave access the Burisma people to the White House.
Oh, absolutely. For
And
favors and money.
Right. And the prosecutor, there was a prosecutor, an independent prosecutor for Ukraine that was looking into Burisma and the money that they were throwing around
Right.
and wanted to understand more. And he was getting to be a pain in their backside. And so they reached out to Uncle Joe to see if he can get him fired. But they were able to, on paper now, connect those dots. We all understood it at the time, but it's hearsay.
But isn't the videotape in and of itself satisfactory?
Not unless you can prove that Hunter just sat on the board just for that. But now they've got those dots connected. Okay. Right.
And he was passing the money out even
Right.
to Bo's widow.
Right.
And everybody in the family tree got something
Something.
apparently.
Yeah. Because
It was so much money they had to divest it and break it down so it wouldn't pass.
there was a granddaughter, I think, or somebody, some family relative. They got like $16,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're just kind of spreading it around. Well, which is, as you do.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know.
You got $1 billion. Who said that?
Yeah. A million here, a million there. Before you know it, you got real money.
It adds up. Yes.
Now it's a trillion.
That was
here, a
Sam
trillion there.
Urban from. That was Sam Urban. And now talk about getting old.
Yeah.
Sam Urban from the Watergate hearings.
Yes.
And I think he's the one who said you spent. I don't know. Was it $1 million? I guess it was $1 million.
Maybe $1 million or $1 billion.
No, we hadn't reached billions yet
then
at
it was
that
a
time.
million. Then
So it was
million.
billions.
Million.
$1 million here, $1 million there, and pretty soon it adds up.
So you got real money. Yeah. So so there you go. But I just find it interesting that Fox is talking about the Bidens and CNN's talking about Trump. And that's but if it wasn't for Trump, CNN wouldn't have much to talk about.
Yeah, while back for sure.
Yeah.
And now he's back.
Yeah, and he's back. Well, speaking about being back, we've got that mystical, magical time, and we'll be right back
Okie dokie.
after this regulation timeout. So we encourage you to stick with us, and we'll share more news and information when we return.
Since you've been gone, I can do whatever.
All right. So that's we understand Sinead O'Connor. She passed away earlier. this
56
week.
years
Yeah,
old.
Yeah. My dad was 56 when he passed. So
Wow.
you just never know when it's your time.
Well, we passed that 56.
Right. We did. All of us. We made
Okay.
that through that threshold.
That
So
was
yeah.
that was the tough one.
We made those actuarial numbers correct.
yes.
You know, if you make it to X, you got this much percentage making it to Y.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
we're at Y already. So we've proven
Okay.
everything correct.
Okay.
And
so
a lot of times I wonder why.
I wonder why.
Or bump, straight line.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Mars attacks.
Yes, let's do that. Wow. You brought him into the studio for a conversation?
So the Congress yesterday had a special committee talking to people of note from the Air Force or the Navy. I think they were Navy.
Both, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Air Force and Navy, right? And a gentleman from the Defense Department. The intelligence, right? The Special Intelligence Agency. And he was tasked with the responsibility of making sense of what they call UAPs, which is another acronym because they wanted not to use the word UFOs anymore for reasons I still don't fully understand.
Crazy.
So he's an interesting guy. He is since retired, but he still holds the clearance, which is unusual, very high clearance. And he went before his superiors and asked for permission to talk without revealing. He could talk about some things, can't talk about other things, stuff like that. And so they said, sure, you can do that as long as you obey certain guideline rules. So he came forward, spoke before Congress yesterday, and made some rather interesting assertions that we have alien spacecraft in our possession. We have had contact with one sort or another for 80 years. That's stunning.
Yes, it is.
And there's been a whole lot of people that there's a gentleman by the name of Ross Coulthart, and he is a attorney, investigative reporter from Australia. Interesting guy, nice guy. You've probably seen he's popped up on a lot of different channels and YouTube things because he does some, pretty good stuff. Anyway, so I got a little bit of sound from Ross, and we can listen to that here. And this is from Channel 7 News Australia.
We are not alone. Yes, it's confronting. It's an extraordinary allegation. I, too, have had a lot of trouble believing it. When I heard the things that Dave Grush told me, I was shocked. And yes, in some cases, I was scared. I still am.
Oh my gosh, man.
This is a huge, pivotal moment that there has been a massive, long cover-up lasting 80 plus years inside the American government. There has been a concealment of retrieval of non-human spacecraft. There's been a concealment of the existence of multiple species of non-human intelligence to this planet. Incredible as it may seem, the United States government are in possession not only of non-human technology, craft and other technology, they're also in possession of alien bodies.
Wow.
Mm.
How's that? Does that ring your bell?
Ding, ding, ding.
Whoa, baby.
I'm locking my windows tonight.
So, wow. And so here's the interesting thing is he does not hold the status of being a whistleblower in that he asked and sought for and received permission to talk about within boundaries.
Yeah.
His whole goal in being before Congress was to get the congressional committees to break this loggerhead that they've
Open
got
up.
with the intelligence services that have been reluctant to be forthcoming.
Yeah, we the people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we have a right to know. And if it's all a bunch of hooey, great, tell us. If there's something to it, great, tell us why. And why is it that somebody somewhere, nameless, faceless individuals, can decide what we can accept or not accept as information?
It's amazing. I heard about this years ago. I don't know if you guys did,
Sure.
but yeah. So we all kind of, somebody whispered it, and I heard it a long time ago.
Right.
I hadn't thought about it in years.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I remember as a youngster walking, this is when I lived in East Detroit, a nice little suburban neighborhood. And it was an evening, it was after sunset. And I was still a youngster where you can just walk to a neighbor's house down the street, which is what I planned to do. So, and I happened to, it was a beautiful, clear night, just super clear night. So I'm looking at a clump of stars. And I go, well, that's kind of interesting. It's beautiful, shiny lights, stars amongst the stars.
Mhm.
And they're all moving slowly in unison. I go, well, that's odd. Now, as a youngster, even I know this is not normal.
Yeah.
But I'm watching it, and how coincidental I just can't tell you. I mean, what is the odds that I would be outside that day at that time looking at that spot in the sky? But I am. And all of a sudden, 3 lights from searchlights pop on. One from east of me, one from north of me, and one from south of me. The one south of me would have been Detroit City Airport. The one east of me would have been probably City of Warren. And the one north of me would have been Selfridge Air Force Base.
So they picked it
And
up on radar.
and they all 3 of these searchlights popped on at the same spot in the sky that I was looking at.
Yeah.
Guess what happened to those stars? They disappeared in a New York second.
Yeah.
Never saw anything move so fast.
Yeah.
It was otherworldly to
Yeah.
me as
Yeah.
a child.
Oh,
I
yeah,
go,
it was.
whoa,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And nobody believed me. I told them, and they looked at me, yeah, I don't think so, kid.
Well, I know you're nuts anyway.
I go, of course. But I never forgot about it.
Yeah.
It really made an impression.
I can't imagine us being the only people in the universe
Right.
that have an intelligence
Right.
beyond X capability. Here's my X and Y again. There's got to be somebody else out there. I don't think we're that supreme.
Well, this is what they call the Fermi paradox. Have
Okay.
you heard about that?
No, actually, I'm hearing more about it right now than I have.
Then you
'Cause,
want to know.
Well, it was something that there's so much to listen to
Right.
and to absorb.
Yeah.
I feel that my days on this great planet are numbered.
Nah.
Yeah,
No, we'll create a new actuarial table for you.
that's what I need one.
Yeah. Okay.
But
okay.
I listen to it. It's like background noise.
Yeah. Okay.
And I gleaned a piece of information like this, a piece of information like that. You're the first one I've talked to who's actually maybe experienced it firsthand.
Firsthand. And yeah. And I okay. So Fermi paradox. You heard of Enrico Fermi, right? The
Mhm.
guy who helped create the atomic bomb. He worked on the Manhattan Project. So not a dumb guy. And so he was noodling around with a couple of his colleagues, and they were talking about this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And he says, well, if there are aliens, where are they? And so
It
that's
could be walking among us.
well, where are they? So that's the Fermi paradox. So what he did is he said there's X amount of planets or X amount of stars, so many planets around those stars. So he started doing the math and the statistical probability is likely
Yeah.
there's going to be another Earth-like planet somewhere, or
Okay.
a planet that could support life.
Mhm.
And so,
But you see, that's where I don't mean to cut you off,
yeah,
but
let's go ahead.
to support life, but that's life as we know it.
Correct.
And there are other biologics
Yes.
that can have a different frame of needs,
Right.
whether it be oxygen or water or whatever.
Could
So
be.
that's the reason I can't comprehend it.
Right. It's life
but-
as we know it.
Life as we know it. So it's something out there. So that's why I believe there probably is something out there.
Oh, there
Right.
definitely is. Even
you know,
before this,
Right.
the odds are astronomical.
sure,
Right.
exactly. So, and again, I cut you off. I
No,
wanted to
sorry.
hear the end of it.
No.
But there's
Well, that's pretty much it. It's just that it's the question. So he goes through a very elaborate mathematical process of showing how many in our galaxy, just the Milky Way galaxy, just our galaxy alone, how many stars are there?
right.
How many planets are around those stars? And then you take, okay, a small percentage of those likely might have life. It's still millions of potential planets.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Exactly. Yep.
So then the question becomes, where are they? If there's a statistical probability for them to be there, why can't we see them? Why can't we find them? And maybe we're not looking in the right place. We're not looking with the right instruments. So that's part of the Fermi
Well,
paradox.
we've only been
okay.
exploring a very small,
Oh yes, sliver
know,
of the universe.
and we
yeah.
started a bunch of years ago.
Right.
So this quote alien life may have started several hundred or thousands of years
Correct.
before us.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's
I'd like to
interesting.
see a picture of these people.
Yeah.
I was
I
going to
wanna
say
know.
it's the little green Martian that we
Right.
see have somebody depicted it 100 years ago, and it just carried through and through, and that's what they look like today.
So I think it's like that guy Alf.
From Melmac, right?
Now I understand it
Yeah.
all. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Cute little guy.
He is a cute guy,
Wise
All right.
guy too.
right? He is. All right, we'll be right back. So thanks for sticking with us, and we'll look forward to chatting with you some more on the other side.
This is the city. Los Angeles, California. I was working the night watch out of the backyard. Today is Friday. My name is Alf. I carry a bat. What? Oh, someone's lurking in the bushes.
So Alf's our favorite
cat.
alien, right?
Yeah.
See, that was my experience with UFOs and aliens.
Yeah.
It was Alf.
He loved cats.
1987.
Yeah, they were so tasty.
Oh God. Oh my God. Well, so a little bit of this day in history. I thought maybe we'd spend a little time with that. Oh, okay. Here it is. So there is this guy by the name of Cyrus Westfield, not Westfield, but West is his middle name, last name Field. And he made so much money in the wholesale paper business that by the age of 33, he had retired to a mansion in New York City.
Wow.
He was feeling restless in 1853. That's 170 years ago.
And
by
he
the
was
way.
restless.
He was feeling restless. So he had this wild idea of laying an underwater telegraph cable across the Atlantic Ocean. And so he set forth to do that. And eventually he actually got the U.S. and the British navies to buy
Work
in
together,
to
yeah.
help him with the project. He made 5 attempts, finally made it. He underwent a lot of ridicule, a lot of depression, a lot of failed attempts, obviously.
He held his breath a long time.
He did. But anyways, on July 27th, 1866, on the 5th attempt, the Great Eastern arrived at Newfoundland, trailing 2,000 miles of line.
Whoa.
Thank God the cable is laid, said an exhausted Field in the Telegraph. Since that day, the old and new worlds have been wired together.
That's truly fascinating. And it's people like that.
Right.
Who
The Elon
can't-
Musk of the time.
I'm sorry?
He's kind of like the Elon Musk of his time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those are the people that we need to cultivate.
Right.
And instead we suppress them with taxation and regulations. And
Right.
that's the unfortunate aspect of it.
Right.
But that goes to show you that somebody who has really made all their money by 30,
Right.
they made it because of their innate drive.
Yes.
And they had to accomplish things. And that's what we apparently are trying to suppress right now. And that's
yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah. So, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Orville Wright made news on this day in 1909. He made a record flight of 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 40 seconds while demonstrating the military flyer, the very first military plane at Fort Myer, Virginia.
I figured airmail.
But there was no bathrooms.
Yeah.
1909.
Yeah.
Yes, there was.
No stewardess.
No stewardess.
Oh, okay.
No flight attendants. No.
Just throw it over.
That's
That's
it.
right.
1940 on this date, Bugs Bunny makes his debut in the cartoon called A Wild Hare.
What's up, Doc?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Elmer Fudd.
Yes. And the Korean War armistice was signed in Panmunjom, a village on the border between North and South Korea on this date in 1953, 70 years ago today.
I'm friends with a Korean vet.
Okay.
Yeah, Korean war vet. Marine, the 1st Marine Division.
Okay, so he's got to be in his 90s, right?
89. He was
Okay.
in combat and all
He was
that.
a youngster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And in 1995, on this date, the Korean War Veterans Memorial was dedicated in Washington, D.C.
I've been there.
What year? I'm sorry.
1995.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Korean War is not over yet, right?
Correct.
I mean, the armistice was signed, but that's not an official pact.
That's not
to
a
end
peace.
war.
That's not a peace armistice. It was just like we're going to agree that we're going to stop here.
Right. Exactly.
And that idiot ran into North Korea.
Correct.
That man is being tortured. God bless him right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to show up brain dead. You heard about that.
Oh,
That-
Yes. No. He's
What
going
a
to be there.
fool. I mean, go to prison in the United States. What's your problem?
Yeah. exactly. In fact, who was the young man?
War something.
Yes, and he was so
Brain
badly
dead.
mistreated that he came back and he died
Died.
shortly thereafter.
Yes.
That was truly unfortunate, and that just goes to show you what type of people you're dealing with when you're dealing with North Koreans. So,
Well, they're so paranoid. I'm sure they figure you're a spy.
right.
Now we're going to make you talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just an idiot.
I
You know?
don't
You
know
know,
if that's a defense, but
How
Because
do
he
you
got
say-
into trouble beating somebody up. He
Right.
spent time in jail over there.
Right.
What a fool.
So he obviously has some mental health issues.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But he's now suffering.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it is. It is. So that's something that we hope there's a good resolution.
I hope
You
so.
know, we
Let's
don't know.
pray.
Yes. Let's see what else is there.
Oh, we got to send Dennis Rodman over there, talk to his buddy.
Right. So there's an idea. Well,
That
we
might
could,
work.
We
It
could
might
send
work.
Trump over there. Trump talks to
Trump is
Nah, I don't think
The
they
Rocket
would.
Man?
I think if they got a hold of Trump,
him and the
he may
Rocket
not
Man.
leave.
No, I don't
Yeah,
know. Him
yeah.
and the Rocket Man seem to get together pretty good.
but Trump had people with him, you know. You'd have Secret Service and Bragg from New York City.
Not, yikes.
yikes. Yep.
Here's and it comes from CNN.
Okay.
Dianne Feinstein gets confused in the Senate Appropriations hearing and has to be prodded to vote. This is sad.
But
It's
isn't
just
she
sad.
home now? She didn't go back, did she?
She's apparently
She's back.
They're carting her into the chambers and she votes.
Yeah, come on, you're
But
you're a
you know something,
Democrat.
I've never seen anything like her. Well, and I'm not that familiar with Strom Thurmond, but apparently he had his faculties.
yeah.
But this also ties in with the Fetterman deal coming out of Pennsylvania.
Amazing.
I mean, the guy was a shell of a person, but they needed a body to put in a chair to go press the button,
and he doesn't even put a suit on.
and doesn't put a suit on. No, he's got his own
thing.
way. But but you know, that's Mr. Fetterman. That's the way he is.
I know.
That's like Joe. That's the way he is. So they accept. What I'm saying is that they accept that just for the vote. I'm not sure if the Republicans would do that, but as I say, with our partisanship today, I'm not sure if somebody in the Senate is not voting, being helped to vote.
Well, they don't stick together that much, the Republicans.
No,
Yeah.
they don't.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So
you
what
have
do
a-
the Republicans need to do? How do you get them to stick together? I mean,
I think you get them into the room and you say, "Come on, guys, we have to save America.
right,
Let's work as a team."
right.
I mean, remember John McCain? He just literally watch me. No,
Right,
just to prove a point because he hated Trump.
right,
It's a shame.
right.
We need a plan.
And
know?
maybe
So-
that shows how strong Pelosi was, and she, beat him in the lockstep.
Well, it's money. She
Oh,
was the big.
Exactly, she was strong that way.
Oh yeah.
She had the dollars, and if you didn't toe the line, you'd never got the dollars.
Yep.
Which was the milk of political life. No, milk of political life is money.
Hmm.
That's not how it's put. I apologize, but you get the drift,
Yeah.
Well, it makes the wheel go around.
yeah.
right?
All right.
And the Republicans, I think it's good that they're separate in the sense of having their own beliefs, but then there's a point in time when they do have to come together.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I guess maybe when they voted McCarthy,
Kevin McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy in, that they did come together. So
All right. So we're going to
Chance.
let John Williams conduct the Imperial March. And
March
this-
of the Tin Soldier.
this is the Imperial March. This is from Star Wars.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
I thought it'd kind of give us a
appropriate.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week right here on Treasure Coast Forum.
Goodbye, folks.
We thank you for
Take care.
listening.